What's up, everybody? Jay here from Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with another EDH deck tech request that was made to us by one of our viewers. That viewer happens to be someone that goes by the name of Zach Man on YouTube. So, Zach, this is the deck request you were looking for. So, Zach requested to us that we build a tribal zombie deck built around Liliana Heretical Healer. And he also did ask that the deck be at a budget of no more than $300. So before we get into the deck, just to throw out the price of the deck for you. According to TCG Player Mid, the price of this deck, including the cost of the general, is $291.45, so we're like right underneath that $300 mark that Zach wanted to stay under. So, Zach, I hope you enjoy this deck tech, and everybody else watching, I hope you enjoy it as well. So let's kick things off here and take a look at our general, which is Liliana Heretical Healer. So it's one of the flip cards from Magic Origins. So she starts off as a 3-cost 2/3 with lifelink, so that's pretty good. She's a human cleric, and when another non-token creature you control dies, you exile her, then return her to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. If you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. So this deck, it's going to be very easy to kick off her transform. So all we have to do is just have a non-token creature we control die. So that's not going to be overly difficult to do. We do have a few ways to sacrifice creatures via like free sacrifice outlets, so it's not going to be overly difficult for us to kick off that ability. But when she does flip, I'm just going to have to click on her here, so we can take a look at her flip side. So her flip side is Liliana Defiant Necromancer. So she's a black planeswalker that comes in with 3 loyalty counters. You can +2 each player discards a card, or -X. Return target non-legendary creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. So a little reanimation for us. And then -8, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. So pretty potent card. Hand Disruption, Resurrection, and board-wide Resurrection if you get her emblem off. So anytime one of your creatures dies or your opponent's creatures die, she brings them back to your side of the board. If you have that emblem. So she's a pretty potent card. Did see in its time, saw a lot of play in Standard. But, oops. For some reason we got kicked back to that page. There we go. So, yeah, that's the general Liliana Heretical Healer. So let's take a look at the rest of the deck. First up, we will... Sorry, my laptop mouse is very sensitive today. We'll take a look at the land base first. So we run a Baron Moor, just a land that we can cycle if we need to draw an extra card. Bojuka Bog for the graveyard hate. Crypt of Agadeem. I originally did have Cabal Coffers in the deck list, but it kind of pushed the deck over the $300. So Zach, if you want to spend the extra money, I think Cabal Coffers is anywhere between like I want to say $10 and $20, somewhere between there. So or if you already have access to one, it's obviously a no-brainer for a card. But figured I'd put Crypt of Agadeem in because it was a little more budget friendly. So get you lots of black mana for each black creature card in your graveyard, seeing as this is a mono black deck. If you have lots of creatures in your yard, this will generate you lots of mana. Then we have Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, which gets you lots of mana of the chosen color when you pay 2 and tap it, and then it gives you that much mana equal to your devotion of that color. Polluted Mire is just another cycle land. Then we run 30 Swamps, and Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, and a Vault of Whispers, just because I like it. It just looks cool. I like it. Plus, we're running Geth, Lord of the Vault in the deck, so we have to run his domain. Alright, so that's the land base. Next, we'll take a look at the enchantments that we run. We run Attrition, to sacrifice creatures away, destroy any non-black creature. Call to the Grave at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player sacks a non-zombie creature. So most of the time we do have a few creatures in the deck that are non-zombies, but you definitely want to pick and choose when you play this card. But I mean, it's probably going to hurt your opponents a lot more than it's going to hurt you. We have Dictate of Erebos, Grave Pact with Flash. Basically, Endless Ranks of the Dead starts amassing you a giant army of zombies, where you put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is half the number of zombies you control rounded down. So if you control 1 zombie, you get 0. If you control 2 zombies, you get 1 zombie. If you control 3 of them, you get 1. So it's half the number you control rounded down. But once you start amassing tokens off of this, it's just going to get exponentially bigger and bigger every turn. We have Grave Betrayal. Whenever a creature we control whenever a creature we don't control, dies, it comes to our side of the board at the beginning of the next end step, and it's a black zombie, in addition to its other colors and types. Grave Pact is Grave Pact. Everybody knows what that does. Necromancer's Stockpile lets you pitch a card for 2 mana to draw a card, and then if you pitched a zombie card, you get a 2/2 black zombie. Oversold Cemetery for the creature recursion out of our graveyard, as long as we have 4 or more creature cards in our graveyard. And Phyrexian Arena, just for the extra card draw every turn. Next are our sorceries. Army of the Damned, because we're playing a tribal zombie deck, so why wouldn't we play this? We get to create 13 tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, and we can flash it back. It does cost a lot of mana to flash back, but getting 13 2/2s on the board is nothing to scoff at. Diabolic Tutor, for those circumstances where you just need to get that 1 card out of your deck. And I went with the Kaladesh art because Liliana is pictured on it. Extinguish All Hope destroys all non-enchantment creatures. Life's Finale destroys all creatures, and then you can search a player's library for 3 creature cards and put them in the graveyard. Rise of the Dark Realms puts all creatures in all graveyards onto the board on your side of the field, so if you cast that and it resolves, you're probably going to win the game. Ruinous Path, just some spot removal for us, kills a creature or a planeswalker. And Zombie Apocalypse, because we're playing a tribal zombie deck. So why wouldn't we want to have a Zombie Apocalypse? So it returns all zombie cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, and then destroys all humans. So might not necessarily wipe your opponent's board clean, but if you have a pretty chock-full graveyard, it'll get basically all of your creatures, almost all of them, right back to the board. Then we have our artifacts. We run Argentum Armor. 6 cost artifact equipment, 6 to equip it. The equipped creature gets +6/+6, and when it attacks, destroy target permanent. We have this because mono black is very bad at destroying artifacts and enchantments. So we have this in there just to have some access to just straight up permanent destruction. Ashnod's Altar, just a free sack outlet that generates us 2 colorless mana. Cage Sun will double the mana of the color that we choose, and creatures we control of the chosen color get +1/+1. Door of Destinies, because what tribal deck would be complete without this? You choose a creature type when it comes in. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, this gets a charge counter, and then creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1 for each charge counter on it. Extraplanar Lens, you can imprint a land on it, and then basically anytime a land with the same name as the exiled card is tapped for mana, it generates 1 additional mana of that. So one thing I do want to point out about this, to really take advantage of this, I did put 30 swamps in the deck, but to take really nice advantage of that, Zach, you'd probably want to run 30 snow-covered swamps. The only reason I didn't put them in the list is because a snow-covered swamp is like 80 cents per one, as opposed to, you know, just like a regular basic swamp that'll run you like 5 cents. I mean, this particular full art one happens to be priced at 35 cents, but that's because it's from the upcoming Amonkhet. But to really take advantage of that, you would want to run snow-covered swamps, so if your opponents are running regular swamps, they won't get the benefit from it too. But, I mean, it's just nice mana doubling. Then we have Nim Deathmantle, nice combo piece. You know, also nice creature recursion. You can pay that 4 mana whenever a non-token creature you control dies. Then we can pay that 4 and bring it right back to the board. We've explained the ways that this combos off with creatures that come into play with 2 or more creature tokens and like a free sack outlet like Ashnod's Altar. I'm not going to go over the combo again, but we have basically mentioned it in 2 previous request videos. So yeah, I mean, that's Nim Deathmantle. We'll pretty much play it in every deck. And Soul Ring because it's Soul Ring. Next, we'll look at our instance. We are in Cruel Revival, so it destroys a non-zombie creature and it can't be regenerated, and then we can return up to 1 zombie card from our graveyard to our hand. And this one happens to have Liliana pictured on it, so that's why it's in there. Hero's Downfall, just some spot removal for us, destroys any creature or planeswalker. Murder just destroys any creature unconditionally, no color restriction or anything. And then Scour from Existence, just more access to just straight up permanent destruction. Well, in this case, permanent exile. So it exiles target permanent because, again, mono black's really bad at getting rid of anything that's not a creature. Then we run 3 Planeswalkers. We run Liliana of the Dark Realms because she is just right at home in a mono black deck. She lets you hit your land drops every turn with her +1. Her -3 lets you make a creature huge or potentially kill a creature. And then her emblem is swamps you control tap for 4 black. So when you get that off, it's just fun times for you. And then we run Liliana the Last Hope, 3 cost, Planeswalker with 3 loyalty. Her +1 gives any target creature -2/-1 until your next turn. -2, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. -7 is really why we like her in the deck. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. So it's just a very much better Endless Ranks of the Dead, essentially. And then we run Ob Nixilis Reignited because he's card draw, creature kill, and if you get the emblem, you can just quickly bleed somebody out with it. Alright, and lastly, we will take a look at the creature base. So first up in our creature package is Agent of Erebos. When he comes in, or another enchantment comes in under our control, we can exile somebody's graveyard, so that's always nice. Cemetery Reaper is a zombie lord that also creates zombie tokens by paying 3 and tapping him and exiling a creature card from a graveyard. Coffin Queen is pretty cool. You can choose not to untap her on your untap step, and then you can pay 2 a black and tap her, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When Coffin Queen becomes untapped or you lose control of her, the creature that you took gets exiled. So, I mean, you can just take a creature out of their graveyard and then untap her and just exile it so they can never have access to it ever again. But I mean, even if they deal with her or something like that, the creature's just going to get exiled no matter what, so that's always nice. Then we have Cryptghast, not a zombie, but he doubles our swamp mana, so that's why we have him in here. Next we have Custody Lich, a 5-cost 4/2. When he comes in, you become the Monarch, and whenever you become the Monarch, target player sacrifices a creature. So it's really cool introducing that mechanic to it. So when you're the Monarch, I believe on your end step, you draw an extra card. And then if someone would deal damage to you directly while you're the Monarch, then they become the Monarch. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to let someone become the Monarch, because then if you hit them, and then they become, then you become the Monarch rather, they have to sacrifice a creature. So it's kind of a nice little interaction there. And then we have Death Baron, gives all your skeletons and other zombies +1/+1 in Death Touch, so that's nothing to scoff at. Diregraph Colossus, when he comes in with a 1/1 counter on him for each zombie card in your graveyard. And whenever you cast a zombie, you put a 2/2 black zombie onto the board. Erebos, God of the Dead, not a zombie, but he is the God of the Dead, so I felt like he fit in pretty well. We just like him because he makes it so our opponents can't gain life, and we can draw cards off of him. Fleshbag Marauder gets a table-wide sacrifice trigger. Gempalm Polluter is a 6-cost 4/3, but generally you never really want to be playing him. You always want to be cycling him. So when you cycle him, you pay 2 black, you discard him and draw a card, and then when you cycle him, you may have target player lose 1 life for each zombie in play. So, I mean, you could just kill somebody outright with that if you have an army of zombies. Then we have Geth, Lord of the Vault, a 5/5 for 6 with Intimidate, so he can get in for some damage. And then you can pay 1 black and X to put an artifact or creature card with convert a mana cost X from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped. And then they mill X cards, so not only are you stealing goodies out of their graveyard, but you're milling them to maybe steal more goodies later on. Then we have Ghoulcaller Jisa. She's a zombie token generating machine. So she's a 5-cost 3/4. You pay a black and tap her to sacrifice another creature. Put X 2/2 black zombies on the board where X was the sacrifice creature's power. Grave Defiler will let us look at our top 4 cards, puts all the zombies from those 4 cards into our hand, and then the rest on the bottom of our deck, and it can regenerate for 1 and a black. Grave Titan, because it's Grave Titan, he generates lots of 2/2 zombies when he comes in or when he attacks. Grave Crawler, basically just there's a nice little resilient card that you can constantly keep going in for damage. Plus, if you have this down on the board and like an Ashnod's Altar or something like that, you can continuously flip your general if she keeps biting the dust. As long as you control another zombie, you can just keep casting him from your graveyard. Then we have Gravespawn Sovereign. Lets you tap 5 untapped zombies you control to resurrect a creature from a graveyard into play under your control. Gray Merchant, because when he comes in, he drains an opponent equal to your devotion of black, and then you gain that much life. So, seeing as it's a mono black deck, I felt like he fit right in. Helldozer to take care of those pesky non-basic lands that your opponents may be playing. Even if it's not non-basic, you can still destroy it. He just won't untap himself if it is a basic land. So you can pay 3 black, tap him, blow up a land. If it's non-basic, he untaps, and then you can do it again. Corlash, Heir to Blackblade. He's actually one of my personal favorite cards, from the history of since I've been playing this game. So he's basically just a big beater for us. His power and toughness are equal to the number of swamps you control, and you can regenerate him for 1 and a black. So he can get pretty massive, and he can be very hard to kill. We have Lord of the Undead, a zombie lord that lets you pay 1 and a black and tap him to bring a zombie card from your graveyard back to your hand. Mikaeus the Unhallowed, a 5/5 for 6 with Intimidate. Whenever a human deals damage to you, it gets destroyed. But why we really like him is because he gives your other non-human creatures +1/+1 and Undying. Then we have Noxious Ghoul. Whenever he or another zombie enters the battlefield, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1. So, you know, it can hurt you a little bit if you have, you know, some of your, some of your non-zombies on the board, but it's probably going to hurt your opponent more than it's going to hurt you. Overseer of the Damned is a 7-cost 5/5 flying demon. When he enters the battlefield, destroy any creature, and whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you get a 2/2 black zombie onto the board tapped. Phyrexian Delver is basically a reanimate on a 3/2 body. Phyrexian Plague Lord, not a zombie, but we like him because we can freely sacrifice creatures with him to give something a -1/-1. Then we have Relentless Dead, a 2-cost 2/2 with Menace, so it's kind of hard to block sometimes. And when it dies, you can pay a black. If you do, you return it to your hand. Also, when it dies, you can pay X. If you do, return another target zombie creature card with a converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. So when this dies, you can do both things. So not only can you pay the black to bring it back to your hand, you can also pay X to resurrect any zombie creature in your graveyard with that mana cost right to the board. Risen Executioner is another zombie lord. He can't block, but you can cast him from your graveyard if you pay 1 more to cast it for each creature card in your graveyard. I just like him because he's a zombie lord. He's just going to pump our team. Sidisi Undead Vizier, because she's basically a demonic tutor if you exploit a creature with her. Stronghold Assassin is kind of like Attrition, except you have to tap him and sacrifice a creature to destroy target non-black creature. Undead Warchief is another zombie lord, but he also lowers the casting cost of your zombies by 1. Then we have Vengeful Dead, a 4-cost 3/2. Whenever he or another zombie is put into a graveyard from play, each opponent loses 1 life, so that's pretty back-breaking. And then lastly, Zombie Master, a 3-cost 2/3. Other zombie creatures have Swamp Walk, and other zombies have pay a black, regenerate this creature. So that's more or less the deck, guys. So Zach Mann, I hope you enjoyed this deck tech for Liliana Heretical Healer. I hope it was kind of along the lines of what you were looking for. And everybody else that checked out the video, I hope you enjoyed it as well. So crush that thumbs up button on the video, guys. If you did enjoy it, you know, show us the love, show us that you enjoyed the video. The more you thumbs up the videos, the easier it is for people to find the videos on our channel. Leave me some comments in the comment section below of what you thought of this tribal zombie deck led by Liliana. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, Tap and Turn Gaming, please crush that subscribe button. We really, really do appreciate it. And we are always open for deck suggestions and deck requests. So if you have a suggestion or a request for a deck to be built, just leave us a comment in the comment section below, and maybe we'll see your comment, and maybe we will pick your request to do the next deck tech request. So yeah, that about wraps up everything here, guys. So again, thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you later. Thanks a lot.